All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Patrice Kennerson. I am the Veteran Service Coordinator for Central Texas College Veteran Services Department. And welcome again to another live session. Today, we are going to be discussing the Hazelwood exemption. Once again, I would like to remind students that this is an Ask Questions informative session. So again, I like to kindly remind students not to ask about any status checks, questions regarding your account. If you have any questions regarding any status checks, please direct those questions to veteran services at ctc.edu email, and we'll be happy to go ahead and check on your status accounts for you. If you have any questions regarding the statuses of any certifications that you might have. So again, just a reminder, this is an informative session. Today we're talking about Hazelwood. Just a recap of what we discussed last month. What we discussed last month, we were speaking specifically in regards to students who participate in the Kate Center, those who are participating in specifically in certification programs. Those who are using VA benefits, participating in certification programs, and what the process is for those students and what they have to do if they're using VA benefits for those. And just to briefly cover what the policies are, specifically what specific methods they have to go through in order to get their VA benefits processed. And we covered those policies and procedures and steps that they have to take, which is somewhat similar to students who are seeking an applied associate's degree. So it's not that far different if you were on a certification program from that of an actual associate's degree. So, and if you want point of contact information for further guidance on how to proceed on that, we have a school certifying official who can provide you with additional information. His name is Daniel Reyes Jr., and his number is 254 526 1982. Again, his number is 254 526 1982, and he is our school certifying official for our Kate Center, and he processes the certifications regarding our Kate Center students for VA benefits. Okay, so as I stated before, the emphasis today for this month's session is going to be students who are using the Hazelwood exemption. And just to give you a brief overview of what the Hazelwood exemption really is, basically is based on the Hazelwood Act. And what it is, it's an exemption that was created in the state of Texas. And what it does is it provides an exemption for qualified veterans, spouses, and dependent children. And it gives an exemption up to 150 hours for veterans, spouses, and dependent children at public institutions of higher education. And it pays for tuitions. This does not include, and I want to make this very clear, it does not include living expenses, books, and supplies and fees. Now, in order to make sure if you're a veteran, a spouse, or dependent, and see if you qualify for the Hazelwood exemption, there are some criteria that you do have to meet. One of the things you do have to check is pretty much is one of the things you have to look for is to see number one, who is your sponsor. As a veteran, if you're the sponsor, or if you're a child or a dependent, who is your sponsor? Um, is the sponsor separated or retired from the military? That's something you want to check into. The sponsor, for one, cannot be on active duty or and use Hazelwood. Pardon me. On the sponsors, DD 214, pretty much, the home of record or place of entry has to be in the state of Texas. It doesn't have to be both. It could either be either one. It has to be in the state of Texas. Another criteria that you have to meet in order to qualify for the Hazelwood exemption is that you have to have 180 days of active duty, and that is exclusive of military training. So training cannot be involved in the 180 days. It has to be 180 days of active duty service. exclusive of training. In addition to qualifying, of course, if you're a first time student, never having, of course, any post secondary education, um, you may have not accumulated of GPA, but of course, if you do have a post secondary GPA, your GPA does have to meet the minimum standard of a 2.0. So that's something else that we're also going to go ahead and check on. Now, if you do meet those requirements, pretty much, you are going to have to submit documentation to go ahead and apply for the Hazelwood. Now, there are two places where you can get this documentation, either as a veteran, a spouse, a dependent. And there are basically two types of dependent children. There is a legacy child, and then there's a child or spouse other than a legacy child. Where you can get these two types, well, there's the two places where you can get this information. Now, you can either get this information from the Texas Veteran Commission, or you can get this information here at our office at Central Texas College, whichever one is more convenient for you. Now, what I can do is I actually have the information up on my screen, and I can go ahead and show that to you. If you bear with me one moment, I'll go ahead and share that information. Okay. Here is the actual Texas Veterans Commission. So the website in order to access this information is www.tvc.texas.gov. And this is where you can go to actually get the information. So once you reach this website, you'll scroll down, and of course, you'll see the links. They have veteran, child, legacy, spouse, or dependent, if you're not considered a legacy child. And I'll discuss the difference between a legacy child and a spouse child dependent in a few minutes. And then what it'll do is it also will give you information on how you will qualify as a veteran in regards to whether you will be able to receive the Hazelwood exemption. As you can see, as not too long ago, it gives you information on if you see you would qualify as a veteran in regards to getting Hazelwood. In regards to getting the Hazelwood exemption. As you see, everything as noted before, as I stated, it gives you the exact same information in regards to the service of the 100. It says here 180 days of active duty service. It's actually exclusive of training. Um, well, here it says 181 days. So to play it on the safe side, let's go by what's on the website here. I said 180, so we'll just go with what's on the website here, and it says 181 days. So basically, we'll go here and state in order for you to qualify, you have to have 181 days of active duty service exclusive of training. As stated before, in addition to that, either home of record or place of entry has to be in the state of Texas. In addition to that, on your DD 214, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, you have to have an honorable discharge or separation. And of course, they have the other qualifications. Oh, also, and this is also important before, if you've taken out any student loans, you can't have a default on them at all. And it also tells you other qualifications that you need to meet as well. So that's the qualifications you need to meet as a veteran. As a legacy child, basically what this means, as stated, is that you were designated as a legacy child through a parent that's no longer living, that's now deceased, and you are the sole heir as a recipient to receiving the Hazelwood exemption. So, and you were designated to receive that Hazelwood benefit. So these are basically the qualifications that you would need to meet in order to use the Hazelwood benefit. So in other words, you must be classified as a Texas resident. Of course, you must be the biological child, stepchild, or adopted child as designated by the sponsor. You have to be 25 years of younger on the first day of the semester or term for which the exemption is claimed. Um, As stated, you can't have any veterans education benefits, no federal veterans education benefits dedicated to the payment of tuition and fees. Of course, you can't have any student loan defaults. You have to be enrolled in classes for which you receive tax support. And of course, you, like everybody else, you have to meet the GPA requirements. Um, so that's considered what you would be a child legacy. Now, for if you're a child but not really consider a child legacy, but fall in the line of spousal dependent, then these are the qualifications that you would need to meet in regards to receiving the Hazelwood exemption. In this case, you would be the spousal dependent of a sponsor that's 100 in total and permanent disability, service connected veteran at that time who was 100% total disabled due to a service related injury or illness. So at this point, they're alive, but they have to be 100 and total permanent disabled at the time of service related injury. So be a spouse, child of a veteran at the time entry into the U.S. Armed Forces, um, be classified by the institution as a Texas resident. Pretty much somewhat similar in the fact that home of record, place of entry, or place of entry has to be in the state of Texas. And pretty much is somewhat similar. Be a spousal child of of a veteran or U.S. Armed Forces or the Texas National Guard who died as a result of a service-related injury or 100% total or permanent service connected disabled as determined by VA with a current summary of benefits letter as proof, or missing or killed in action, and as stated before, you can't have any veterans benefits or federal veterans benefits, paying tuition and fees, classify as a Texas resident, can't have any student loan defaults, and of course, you have to be enrolled in classes and meet GPA requirements. So those are the actual requirements that you have to meet to fall into those categories. So, and probably I don't know if some people probably have a question wondering whether or not how do you know for sure if you meet those qualifications or not? Um, Now, before we get into that, if you're interested in applying for Hazelwood, you could come to this same website, and this is how you can actually get these documents, so to speak. Let's go back here for a second. Let's see. Is it here? Okay. So going back to this original page right here, you could click on any one of these documents here. Like for instance, this is the actual Hazelwood application. If you click on that, you're able to download it here. And this is from the Texas Veterans Commission website where you can actually go ahead and you click on that document. This is the actual application you can actually download and you can actually print off and you can submit it to our office. You can submit the actual application there. These are the actually supporting document instructions that precede the actual application. So it kind of gives you instructions on what you actually need to submit to make sure that you have everything in place before you submit the document. And this is the application itself, making sure that you meet the qualifications and making sure you need to fill this out correctly as it is stated. So, and this is the actual application itself. Once you fill out the initial application, if you plan on continuing to use Hazelwood throughout the continuing semesters here at CTC, and yes, number one, we do track the hours every single semester. So that's something you need to be aware of as a student. Also, every single semester, you need to also make sure that you come by our Hazelwood office and fill out a continuing enrollment form. And this is what it looks like right here. So you just need to make sure you fill this out. And you can get this through the Texas Veteran Commission. And we also have this available here in our office as well. Um, Now, what this is here, this is a documentation checklist. And if you, whether you're a veteran, a legacy applicant, or whether you're a spouse or a child, this kind of gives you an idea of pretty much what you would need to have in order to make sure your Hazelwood gets processed properly and effectively in a timely manner. So pretty much it gives you a rundown list and making sure what documents you need to have. So this will be a great asset to you if you need to have your Hazelwood processed. Um, in addition, and this is a very handy sheet to have as well. This kind of like gives you an idea of what you would be classified as pretty much. As stated before, a lot of this is very similar to what I rated before, so I'm not going to go ahead and reread this again. But in case if you wanted to know what you would be classified as, of course, you would know whether or not you're a veteran. But for say, for instance, for those who are not sure if they're classified as a legacy child or a child or a spouse, just remember the biggest difference is as a legacy child, you would be the sole recipient of a Hazelwood the Hazelwood exemption from a veteran who's already deceased, um, pretty much, and you were the recipient of the Hazelwood exemption. And of course, you would only be the recipient of the Hazelwood exemption from a child of a parent who's 100 and totally disabled, 100% totally disabled for from that parent. So, but this gives you detailed information on what a legacy child is, what a child or a spouse recipient is, and what a veteran, what a veteran in this case would be to classify for the Hazelwood exemption. So, um, pretty much that's the information that we have in regards to how you would qualify for the Hazelwood. Um, Now, like I said, there is two places where you can get this information. The Texas Veterans Commission website is one, and you can get it from that website. And again, you can also get this information from our office here at CTC, here in building 111 upstairs in room 214. And we also have a point of contact who you can reach. Her name is Stephanie Lopez, and you can reach her by contacting the telephone number at 254 526 1559. And you can also email her at chazelwood@ctcd.edu. Again, that's C Hazelwood, C as in Charlie, H as in Hazel, A as in Alpha, Z as in Zoo, L as in Liberty, E as in Elephant, W, O as in Office, O as in Office, D as in David at ctcd.edu. Or you can contact the phone number again, 254 526 1559. And again, the point of contact would be Stephanie Lopez. She is our Hazelwood representative, and she'll be more than happy to provide you with any information and the documents needed for you to go ahead and set up your Hazelwood. So that's pretty much how you can access information on how you can go ahead and get your Hazelwood started, whether it's through the Texas Veterans Commission. You can get the documents there, but the quickest way to go ahead and get your Hazelwood process is to go ahead and you can download the documents from that website and submit it to our office, or you could come directly to our office here on the CTC main campus and actually have it processed and fill it out and have it processed here. Just make sure you have all the supporting documents based on what your status is, whether you're a veteran, a legacy child or spouse. Um, I think we had a question in the chat. Bruce, did you had a question, or I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. No, I've been typing in the contact information that you've been sharing as far as Stephanie and your billing location and email, that kind of thing. So I don't see a question in the chat yet, and I'm not sure if Mariceli has one in Facebook or not. So, but right now we are question free.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, but however, we do have some. Okay. Okay. So far that's good. But however, we do have some commonly asked questions when it comes to Hazelwood, which does which I hope does clear up some confusion. And one of the commonly asked questions is Hazelwood and Veteran Services the same office where I can submit the documents to where Hazelwood and Veteran Services can be processed? And the answer to that question is no. Hazelwood and Veteran Services are two separate offices. And the reason why I want to emphasize that is that if you are using Veteran Services and Hazelwood, you want to make sure that you want to get your documents together for both offices. So if you want to use your Hazelwood, get your documents together for that Hazelwood office, and then you want to get your documents together for the Veteran Services office. And I stress that very, very heavily, because one of the biggest confusions that we have is that because the assumption is, yes, even though Hazelwood is a veteran services benefit, the biggest assumption is that Hazelwood and veteran services go together. So they figure if we submit the documents for Hazelwood, the assumption is that VA benefits are going to go ahead and get processed. And that's the biggest assumption that gets a lot of students into trouble, thinking that both are going to get processed, and while one gets processed, the other one doesn't get processed. So I do want to make it very, very clear that Hazelwood office is a separate office from the Veteran Service office. So just make sure, and we always try to remind students that, and this is why Hazelwood has always been helpful in letting students know that if you come visit the Hazelwood office, they always remind students that if you're using veteran service benefits, that you want to contact the Veteran Services office, particularly your school certifying official, and making sure you have that paperwork set up and ready and good to go.
Hey, Patrice, that begs the question, where do they go for the Hazelwood? Which office do they need to go to for that?
That's a good question. Once again, the point of contact would be Stephanie Lopez. The office would be room 214, building 111, room 214. I was going to actually mention that at the very end, but that's okay. I can mention that now. It's the same building. It's the Veteran Services building. It's building 111. It's on the second floor. It's in room 214.
And just FYI, the building numbers have changed, and building 111 is now building 215. If
Oh,
anybody
really?
is
Okay.
unaware, yes, yes. So no, you're fine. I've been putting it out there on the typing it out there. So in
Okay.
case anybody's watching and it gets confused, that we just underwent a building number change throughout Central Campus, and building 111 is now Student Services, and it is building 215.
Okay, so my correction, everybody, let me change that. It's now building 215. So if I've been saying building 111, excuse me, please forgive me. It's now building 215.
Yeah,
So
old habits.
yes, very old habit. So again, forgive me. So if you're needing to reach either Veteran Services or Hazelwood, so for the moment, let's talk about Hazelwood. So if you're needing to reach Hazelwood, it's building 215, second floor, building 215, room 214 for Hazelwood. So yes, always remember, if you're using Veterans Benefits and Hazelwood, they're two separate offices. So make sure you have your paperwork set up for both of them. Yes, you can't submit your paperwork for one office and expect both departments to be processed and ready to go. That will not happen. Um, a second general question, I think it's already been answered for the most part. As a veteran, and we get this a lot, can as a veteran, would I normally qualify for both Hazelwood and VA benefits? And the answer to that is no. And I think I pretty much covered that when I was reading the qualifications. As a veteran, your VA benefits have to be normally exhausted before you can qualify for the Hazelwood exemption. Now, Most dependents in this case is the same question, and this is the most and the third most frequently asked question is most dependents, do they qualify for both VA benefits and Hazelwood? And the answer to that question as a dependent is yes. Um, Most dependents do qualify for VA benefits as well as Hazelwood, particularly those who are considered dependent, a child, or in some cases a legacy child. Um, they can actually go ahead and get both, especially if they're only getting a certain percentage of veteran service benefits, and then yet they were handed down Hazelwood. Um, the only thing we say to that is that if you're gonna use both, especially if you're only getting a certain percentage of veteran service benefits, we always tell students make sure that your Hazelwood is set up and ready to go. The good thing about it is that we are all now on the same floor, and we always try to work together. So let us know, and we always try to help each other out and making sure if you have any other type of financial resources, whether it is Hazelwood, whether it is financial aid, make sure you have that set up and good to go. So if you are using Hazelwood, if you're using any type of other benefits financially, let us know about it so we can get you set up and good to go. And like I said, Veteran Services and Hazelwood are right next to each other, even though we are separate offices. We are right next to each other, so we'll be able to, if necessary, walk you right down the hall, and we'll be able to get you set up if necessary. So always let us know that. Um, the fourth most commonly question is that can I, and if so, how can I schedule an appointment to meet with a Hazelwood representative? Yes, you can. Due to with COVID still active and going on, it has limited the social contact with students still coming up here. Even though the buildings are unlocked and students can come up here now, yes, we still have appointments in place. But yes, you can still come up here and make an appointment with a Hazelwood representative. Um, and you can make an appointment by either emailing Stephanie Lopez at chazelwood@ctcd.edu, or you're more than welcome to call the number at 254-526-1559. And you're more than welcome to schedule an appointment to speak with a Hazelwood representative. Um, Other than that, that's pretty much all I have for Hazelwood. Was there any more questions?
Yeah, the only other question was, it was just a general question about will there be synchronous classes available in the fall? And yes, there will be some SVL classes offered this fall.
Yes, they will.
Mariceli, are there any other Facebook posts or questions? No, she doesn't have any either. So, and there are none in the chat room right now either. So, um, let me type Stephanie's email in there one time in the chat room, and Patrice, go ahead and just do, I guess, a summary, and we'll hopefully that will summary will help answer anyone else's questions.
Okay, so pretty much those are all the information guidelines in regards to Hazelwood, the qualifications for veterans, legacy child, child or spouse. If you have any further questions regarding how you qualify for Hazelwood, you're more than welcome to contact the Hazelwood office. Here are we have open hours between 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Again, you're more than welcome to reach us on the live chat that we have available for veterans. That also includes Hazelwood. Um, and our live chat hours are from Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And again, we have live chat hours from 8 a.m. to also 11 a.m. on Friday. Of course, and also on our website, if you want any information about Hazelwood, you can also come to our website at www.ctcd.edu. And when you get to the home page, of course, you click on students. You click on the link that says students, you go to military veterans, you click on veterans. If you scroll down on the far left side, there's like this box that says Veterans Resources, and at the very bottom in that box it says Hazelwood. And if you click on Hazelwood, you'll see a lovely page of information that will give you all sorts of lovely info. And if you see in the middle, they'll give you links where you could click on e-forms. And of course, there you go. There's the link to Texas Veterans Commission website where it'll give you the links to where you can actually download the application. And as you can see, there is the email where you can email the Hazelwood representative in case um, you have any questions in regard to Hazelwood. Again, it says building 111. Go ahead and disregard that because that's incorrect. It's now building 215. But the room number is still the same, though. It's still 214. So that hasn't changed. Um, but again, this is also key factor. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but I think I have. You also has to be registered, just like veteran services. Hazelwood is still the same. You have to be registered for classes, but everything is still pretty much relevant at the top. So, but again, it just gives you information, talks about legacy child, child of a spouse, and all that information, qualifications, what veterans eligibility requirements, what you need as far as what you would need to provide in order for you to get approved for Hazelwood. So again, look over this website. If you want other information, there's the Texas Veterans Commission website. But pretty much in regards to Hazelwood, that's all I have. Other than that, also just to let you know that early registration for fall begins May 24th and will continue until August 20th. So just to give you a heads up on that. So you know what that means. Early registration means early processing. So
Yeah. Yeah,
so
registration for summer is ongoing right now, but
yep.
Patrice is right. Get a jump on if you're going to plan to start taking classes in fall, because the earlier you do, the better it is for you instead of waiting for that last minute when there's a massive onslaught of registrants.
And I tell you that now because we're already getting fall inquiries.
Yeah.
So it's all right. So, but that's pretty much all I have for you. And again, live session, we have live chats already going on. So if you have any questions that you need to reach us, our hours of operation for live chat is also the same Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Telephone numbers for contact. If you need to reach us, our numbers are 254-526-1666, and our numbers are 254-526 1205. That's two numbers for also reaching us as well. Um, okay. I think Marciela just put a question in the chat.
Yeah, it was for FAFSA. There's someone needs assistance with the FAFSA, and I think that's probably more a Sharon or a Kiana or a Pearl issue.
That's a financial aid issue. I'm sorry. I wish I could answer that for you.
Yeah. So we'll get. Let me type in a financial aid contact number before we get out of here, so that person would have a phone number to call, or at least a reference to go to. Let's see. Let's see. 1268. There we go. All right. There we go. Hopefully that will help. And if that person can maybe stay on the Facebook, then maybe we can kind of get them a little bit more contact. So anyway, all right. Well, Patrice, thank you so much. That was some great information, very useful, and the resources there that you've listed there on the contact page, definitely beneficial. So we appreciate it. And just remind everybody, we'll be back in June, the second Thursday in June at 10 o'clock for another Veterans Services session. So Patrice will have more information for you and be able to answer some of your questions and give you the assistance that you need. So any final thoughts, Patrice?
No, I just look forward to seeing y'all again in June. There will be some updates. I know we've got some new programs that are coming out, and at that time, I will be able to inform you of those new programs. And there's also been some updates from the Department of Veteran Affairs that have come out. So I'll be able to inform you of that information then. So, again, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And you guys have a wonderful day.
Great. Thank you so much. We look forward to the June session again. That will be the second Thursday in June at 10 a.m. And let me double check. That will be June 10th. June 10th at 10 a.m. Patrice will provide more of that information for you. And in the meantime, feel free to ask your questions to any of the contacts we posted there in the chat. The phone number is 526-1666 or 526-1205. And their building number is 215. If you stop by after making an appointment with them, then they will square you away. So thank you again, Patrice. Thank you everyone for being here, and we'll see you on the next CTC Live. Take care, everybody.
Y'all take care. Have a wonderful day.